bastard. My arrows are not seemingly... I'm like, yeah, okay. There's a bit of lag on the server. I didn't even know the little guys could hit you. I thought the little guys couldn't hit you. Or do they run? Is it that they run away the first time you hit them? Maybe is it? Don't know. Do not know. It's insane. We should be moving. Oh, well, we are coming up with an idea for the end room, so I assume that we're going to be moving the portal to that side, so you come out facing the portal. Because you always face the same direction, right? When it comes to the portal. Some very nice, kind soul decided to put railings on the end here, so you don't fall off and just brush right up against it and not die. I don't think there's nothing much new in the Nether Hub. Yeah, we got a good crop of new people, too. Death and Ras and Tomato there. All new players. There's a couple others, too. They've been very active, as a matter of fact, which has been nice. We're starting to see stuff. Whoops. Starting to see stuff move out of the temporary shopping area at the wharf and move towards more permanent. Tomato. Move towards more permanent shops up top. That's Evie's Shulker Surprise. Oh, that's the LGB tree. I think Yahab built that. Yeah, Shulker Surprise needs to, Evie said he was going to make this look nicer by not having just straight brick walls. Yeah. These are my two stores, Diamond Needle Records, and then Stanfam Market, and Thin Man Mr. Stones right here. These are all three of my stores. Somebody's bought stones from me. Need to refill the cobblestone. Need to refill the blackstone. People aren't paying in the barrel up top, so I don't have to go through all these. Need stone. Need deep slate. I just refilled the deep slate too. Jesus. Yeah, Stanfam Market. I don't need to be looking through all this with you guys. Somebody took more than 2 stacks. Which is, it's 1 diamond per 2 stacks on the apples. Oops, somebody either comes back for their second of 2 stacks and the diamond, or returns the stack. The record store, I wonder if people have built or bought from. That's Strummer, one of the 4 horsemen. Good Clash reference. Good Clash knowledge for anyone who caught that. Joe Strummer. Yeah. Exhibit A in how you can make a brick building look nice and weathered. The deep slate's really good for this as a transition. I mean, the dripstone I find is a good transition between the light gray terracotta and the brick, I think. Although, you might look at it from an angle and somebody might tell you it actually looks like the building has leprosy. But that's neither here nor there. Right, the pork goes in there. I don't know where the meat goes. I haven't been eating meat. Y'all know I'm pescatarian on the server now. something I can't do in real life. I'll always, at the very least, eat turkey because of corn nuts. And for those of you who haven't heard this story, I guess I'll tell you. I used to live near a family out of, or I shouldn't say that I lived in a relatively vacationy area where the population pretty much swelled in the summer because people from San Francisco, which, you know, if you're local, you just call a city. People from the city would come up to summer in the area around the lower Russian River area in western Sonoma County, and God, I'm trying to think about what the hell I should be doing while I'm doing this, so I'm not just doing the Thai thing and jumping around doing nothing. Anyway, so that's beside the point. We'll go mining for deep slate. Not with the silk touch. Anyway, so back to corn nuts. Yeah, I'll take Workman's, but he could have done a little bit of a help. Back to corn nuts. We lived in a vacation area, and one of the families that would come up near the area around my grandma and grandfather's house, which is where my family all kind of congregated for the summer. By this time I was still living in the area, but shortly after this we had moved out closer into town. But I was a little kid at the time. I was about 4 or 5. And my grandparents' neighbors were a family called the Falzons. And now at the Falzons' house, they had little bit. They had a chicken coop, and they were big in animals. They had a chicken coop, they had dogs, and they had one turkey that they lovingly called Corn Nuts. And now Corn Nuts to a 5-year-old me was a massive, angry-looking motherfucker, and he would chase me around the yard. I think he might have even been bigger than a 5-year-old me, which is not huge. Obviously, 5-year-olds aren't that big. You could probably, I'm not going to make any metaphor for what you could do to a 5-year-old. That's just going to come back and bite me in the ass. Anyway. I thought I had... Oh, do I have torches in my ender chest? Aha! Beautiful. This will grab silk degrees to take that ender chest back. Beautiful. I don't have to waste my beautiful lanterns. That's the other reason I've needed the iron, is because I between the compasses and the lanterns, I have been hurting for iron. You guys might have seen at spawn briefly. I have been lanterning the hell out of the spawn roads. Yeah, so Cornus was this big angry turkey. He would chase me around, chase little 5-year-old me around the yard. Yeah, he's just such a dick. So Corn Nuts is ruined the sanctity of his entire species. I will continually eat as much turkey as I want till the end of this earth because of how much of a dick Corn Nuts was. But apart from that, my summers as a kid was pretty great. It's insane to think about, but it's insane to think about. But I was actually raised in a pretty open society, about a very socially progressive society, about a number of things. I was born in the late '90s, and growing up in the early 2000s. Early to mid 2000s, you still, even here in California, we had things like Prop 8 happen, where we completely reversed publicly reversed our decision on gay union, gay marriage. I can't remember. That was 2008. I was very young at the time. I didn't know exactly the details of it, but I do remember that California California was totally fine with gay civil unions, gay marriage for a short time, and then immediately got reversed in a public proposition that was on the ballot. And that was very. It's a very strange thing to come out of California. Those sort of things, because there's a lot of people that think, oh, California's a very socially progressive liberal stronghold. It hasn't been for that long. I mean, my father remembers being involved in politics in the late 80s, early 90s, when it was still a big... I mean, California had a run of two massively popular two-term Republican governors in a row. And then, well, I mean, so let's see. We've had a run of rather massively popular Republican governors, starting with, Earl Warren, technically, though, you know, he's more of a, you know, an Eisenhower Republican, in which case, you know, I mean, you look at his record on the Supreme Court after he was tapped for Chief Justice, very liberal guy, really. You know, this is at the point where the parties were less polarized, and each party had a Republican I should say that both the Republicans and the Democrats at the time had a socially progressive and socially conservative wing in the party, and presumably economics too, but that's not the point I'm getting at here. The first really popular modern conservative governor, obviously, is Ronald Reagan. Beat out Pat Brown for his third term in '66. That was unfortunate. My grandfather was a big Pat Brown supporter. Met him on numerous occasions. He did a lot for public infrastructure in California. We named our major canal that runs up and down the Central Valley after Pat Brown. Good popular governor for a fair amount of his term. Don't ask me, because I don't know expertly exactly how he what transpired to have him lose to Reagan, but Reagan ended up becoming massively popular two-term governor. Jerry Brown became massively scrutinized two-term governor, but also popular because he really spearheaded before anyone else did during the time of Jimmy Carter and Walter Mondale starting to move the presidential politics of the Democratic Party more towards a socially progressive side, started moving fiscally conservative. So he was really one of the first major Democrats to do that in the modern sense, back in the mid-'70s when he became governor, '74. And then we had George Duke Maginn and Pete Wilson, and then Democrat Gray Davis, recalled in 2003 just after his election to his second term. Ronald Reagan, Republican, and then back to Jerry Brown again. Massively popular this time, and that took, you know, until 2010 for us to get a massively popular, seemingly progressive. I mean, he's still a fiscal conservative, Jerry Brown. But yeah, California politics has only relatively recently, since about the mid-'90s, really started to turn the tide more socially progressive. And in a lot of places, California, Central Valley, Southern California, Inland Empire, far northern California. Is this my? Oh no, this okay. Grab that fortune later. Farther northern California, still pretty Republican heavy. I mean, Kevin McCarthy, Senate Minority Leader, he's from Bakersfield, one of the armpits of California. Absolute asshole of a town. Absolute asshole of a person. Kevin McCarthy. Never met him personally, but I know he is because, well, he's minority leader. They say Senate. I meant House. My God, I should have my A in my college government class revoked for that faux pas. Anyway, so what I'm getting at is, since the 70s, the Lower Russian River area had become a pretty popular vacation resort, not just for the rich and entitled to San Francisco, but also for people from the Castro district. And we're talking about the time of like Harvey Milk and everything. And this burgeoning gay rights movement in California post Stonewall. And we became a pretty popular gay resort and everything. My dad remembers when he was a kid being told by his, grandfather and his father that there were a couple guys living in a cabin together and there was only one bed, but they were thought of as old war buddies, is what my father was told. My father was, and is, of course, he's still alive. Of course, it doesn't need to sugarcoat for things for me anymore. I'm well into my 20s now. He was more open with me about that, and I knew a lot of really flamboyantly gay people from out at the river. And despite me growing up Catholic, it was never a big problem. I have two adoptive gay uncles who are very devout Catholics, and our local priest went to their wedding when we had our gay marriage, when we had Prop 8 finally turned over and they got married. I think on the 25th anniversary of their first day. It was very romantic. I didn't get to go to it. I was at school, but our local Catholic priest even went, but he was told by the bishop that he had to appear in plain clothes and couldn't call himself father. He just had to go by his personal name and everything. Because in terms of the Catholic Church, often our area had been the place to send the rebellious priests, and in the time of our previous bishop, who was a little more lenient on the Catholic dogma, it was people who were putting a financial strain on the church because of wanting to eat filet mignons every night and everything. And in the case of the current bishop, who's far more conservative and dogmatic, it's a case of taking the most liberal priest, the most open priest, and sending him out there in exile. This is really stories for another episode. I can't really speak too much about it right now because I've been speaking for 24 minutes straight now, and this is coming after about 30 minutes of other usable footage. So I'm gonna have to really edit this down, or edit into 2 videos, or continue talking about this in a separate video. But it's good storytelling. It really is, and I know people enjoy my storytelling. And the last video, the Ecce Homo Genericus video, where I was talking about the generic bee thing, people were telling me, we should bring back the podcast, which I absolutely plan on doing as soon as I have the time and the resources and the editing capacity to do so. Absolutely, I would love to do that. God, what was I saying? This is my major problem. I don't even have my book in front of me, my little notebook to tell me exactly what I was saying in the order in which I should say it. Otherwise I forget these things. Okay, let's see. Yeah, the current priest out there, he's a very interesting individual. He only became a priest relatively late in his life, and he has I think 2 sisters. One's a Buddhist and one's a Muslim. and I mean, I've told him before, I'm not an active Catholic, and in fact, I wouldn't even call myself a Catholic anymore, because I don't really subscribe to the religion thing. But if the Catholic Church really wanted to make an impact in the modern world, they should be more open to having more priests like, well, I'll say his name, Father Lewis. He's a very influential character. I've had a few conversations with him about my lack of faith, my losing my faith. He did my grandmother's funeral in 2015, and I had told him about that at the after funeral reception. And I was going to say last year it was last year, January of last year, 2020, was the next time I saw Father Lewis at my uncle's funeral. And he remembered that the last time he'd seen me, we'd spoken about my lack of faith. We actually had a very kind conversation about that again. And I'm very grateful for understanding members of the clergy like that. It's a very heartwarming thing to realize that you don't have to be religious to be friends with a religious person, or to have a good conversation, an eye-opening conversation with a religious person. You don't have to step on each other's toes, and it's absolutely a lesson that we can all take from it. I'm gonna have to cut out the whole governors thing because that was just dumb and rambling. This is a much better story. But yeah, that's my story of the of the good priest. All right, that's gonna do it for this episode. Then I'll see you guys next time.